The world is holding its breath as the purple dawn of 2026 breaks across the horizon, marking the return of a global phenomenon that has redefined the very fabric of the music industry. As the announcement for the North American leg of the BTS World Tour sent ripples through every corner of the globe, a fascinating mystery began to unfold regarding the selection of 7 specific cities that would serve as the pillars for this historic journey. Why these 7? What secrets lie within the soil of these urban giants that made them the chosen grounds for a cultural revolution? This isn't just about the capacity of the stadiums or the speed of the internet connection. It's about a deep-seated legacy, a strategic calculation of emotional resonance, and a celebration of a bond that has only grown stronger through time. From the towering glass skyscrapers of the East to the rugged, natural beauty of the West, each location was handpicked to tell a specific part of a larger story, one of resilience, gratitude, and unparalleled success. Have you ever considered why a city might be chosen for its historical weight rather than its current popularity, or how the architectural acoustics of a single venue could influence the entire setlist of a world tour? We are about to peel back the curtain on the logic, the data, and the raw human emotion that transformed these 7 North American hubs into the epicenter of the 2026 musical calendar. Are you ready to see the world through a different lens and understand the why behind the magic? Let's dive into the countdown of the century, exploring the atmosphere, the facts, and the undeniable magnetism of the 7 ultimate tour stops that will define an era. Can you feel the energy shifting as we prepare to uncover the secrets of the 2026 stage? Would you like me to proceed with the first city on our list? Number 7. Los Angeles. The eternal Purple Heart, where the dream reawakened. When we talk about the relationship between BTS and the city of Los Angeles, we aren't just talking about a tour stop. We are talking about the very soil where a global revolution found its second heartbeat, making it the most undisputed choice for the 2026 World Tour. Imagine the sun setting over the Pacific, casting a golden-purple hue over the sprawling concrete jungle where 7 young men once walked the streets of West Hollywood in 2014, handing out flyers for a free concert that many ignored. This city is the ultimate witness to the American dream, realized in its most poetic form. The selection of Los Angeles for 2026 is a strategic masterstroke rooted in both historical sentiment and the cutting-edge infrastructure of SoFi Stadium, a venue that has become synonymous with the permission to dance era. Why return here again? Because LA is the barometer of global pop culture, and for BTS, it is the place where they proved that language is no barrier to the soul. In 2026, the stakes are higher than ever as the group returns to the city that hosted their first major post-pandemic stadium shows, creating an emotional feedback loop that fans can feel in their bones. The sheer scale of the Los Angeles market is staggering. It's a hub where the East meets the West, housing one of the largest Korean diasporas in the world, ensuring that every corner of the city from Koreatown to Santa Monica vibrates with the energy of the Borahai movement. Let's look at the facts. SoFi Stadium's architectural marvel, with its translucent roof and the dual-sided 4K LED infinity screen, offers a sensory experience that no other venue in the world can replicate, allowing for the 2026 production to reach a level of theatricality that feels like a cinematic masterpiece. But beyond the tech, there is the ghost of 2014 American hustle life, lingering in the air, a reminder of the grit, the sweat, and the tears that transformed these underdogs into the kings of the world. Can you imagine the heavy silence before the first beat drops in 2026, knowing that just miles away is the small stage where it all began in America? How does a city that once looked at them with curiosity now bow to them with reverence? The decision to include LA isn't just about ticket sales, which are guaranteed to vanish in seconds, but about the coming home narrative. It's about the 2021 residency that pumped nearly $100 million into the local economy, proving that a BTS tour is a sovereign economic event. The 2026 tour takes this further, integrating the city's identity as a creative sanctuary where the members have spent countless hours in recording studios and art galleries. This stop represents the evolution chapter of the 2026 tour, a reflective look at how the boys from Seoul became the icons of Hollywood. As the 2026 tour dates approach, the question remains, what special stage could they possibly perform here to honor a decade-long journey with the City of Angels? Will they recreate a moment from their debut days, or will they push the boundaries of performance art so far that the Hollywood sign itself feels small in comparison? The atmospheric pressure in LA during tour week is unlike anything else. The city doesn't just host a concert, it transforms into a purple ecosystem, with landmarks lighting up and the air thick with the anticipation of a historic reunion. This is where the narrative of the 2026 tour finds its anchor, a city that saw them when they had nothing and now gives them everything. The reflective silence of the members as they look out at a sea of light sticks in Los Angeles is a moment that defines the very essence of success. Is it the nostalgia of the Rose Bowl or the futuristic glory of SoFi that makes this stop so essential? Or is it the simple fact that Los Angeles is where the world first realized that BTS was not just a K-pop group, but a global shift in the human experience? As we move through the 2026 itinerary, Los Angeles stands as the monumental gateway, the Chapter 2 sanctuary, and the place where the impossible became a daily reality. The fact remains, you cannot write the history of BTS without a massive purple-inked chapter dedicated to Los Angeles, making it the heartbeat of the North American leg. Are you ready to witness the city that never sleeps finally find its peace in the melody of 7 voices once more? What secrets will the 2026 LA setlist hold that might reference their very first days in the California sun? The energy is building, the countdown is real, and Los Angeles is waiting to reclaim its title as the purple capital of the West. Number 6. Chicago, the Windy City's soul, a symphony of resilience and fire. When we look at the map of the 2026 World Tour, the inclusion of Chicago as the 6th most vital stop isn't just a matter of geography. It's a tribute to the raw, industrial heartbeat of America and the unbreakable bond forged in the fires of the Midwest. Imagine the scene. The biting, crystalline wind sweeping off the vast expanse of Lake Michigan, whistling through the canyons of steel and glass that define the Chicago skyline, only to be met by a heat so intense it could melt the very foundations of the city, the heat of the purple flame. Chicago has always been a city of shoulders, a city of workers, and a city of soul, and for BTS, it represents the ultimate proving ground, where they transitioned from pop idols to legendary performers. Why Chicago in 2026? Because you cannot tell the story of their global dominance without mentioning the legendary Speak Yourself tour at Soldier Field, where the group performed under a heavy downpour, their silhouettes dancing through the rain as if they were part of some ancient, elemental ritual. That night in 2019 became a part of the city's folklore, a moment where the Windy City tried to blow them away, but instead, the fans and the artists stood their ground, creating a memory that remains etched in the soul of every army who braved the cold. But the 2026 selection goes even deeper, reaching back to the historic summer of 2022 when J-Hope stood alone on the Lollapalooza stage in Grant Park, becoming the first South Korean artist to headline a major U.S. music festival. That event, colloquially known as Hobopalooza, didn't just break attendance records, it shattered the glass ceiling of what a solo Asian artist could achieve in the American festival circuit, drawing over 100,000 people and a staggering 14.9 million viewers on the live stream. For the 2026 tour organizers, Chicago is more than a destination. It is a symbol of individual and collective triumph. The choice of Soldier Field for 2026 is also a strategic decision involving the venue's historic status. As the oldest stadium in the NFL, its neoclassical columns and grand architecture provide a stark, beautiful contrast to the hyper-futuristic, high-tech production of the 2026 tour. This juxtaposition of the old world and the new world reflects the very essence of the group's music, deeply rooted in tradition but always pushing toward the future. Have you ever wondered how the acoustics of a stadium built in 1924 could handle the bass-heavy, complex soundscapes of a 2026 stadium set? The engineering team for the 2026 tour reportedly spent months analyzing the wind patterns of the lakefront to ensure that every note, every high-pitched harmony, and every rapid-fire rap verse would cut through the Chicago air with surgical precision. This level of detail is why Chicago sits at number 6. It's a technical and emotional challenge that the group thrives on. Furthermore, the city's cultural landscape has been permanently altered by the BTS effect. From the Magnificent Mile being draped in purple banners to the local businesses in Koreatown seeing a 400% increase in foot traffic during tour week, Chicago becomes an extension of the tour itself. There is a specific kind of Midwest resilience that mirrors the group's own journey, the idea that no matter how hard the wind blows or how cold the winters get, you keep building, you keep dreaming. The 2026 Chicago stop is designed to highlight this theme of resilience, with a set list rumored to include deep cuts that resonate with the city's grit and determination. Can you picture the moment when the lights go down and the iconic Chicago skyline becomes the backdrop for a performance that feels like a cinematic epic? The city's landmarks, like the Willis Tower and the Cloud Gate, the Bean, are expected to be part of an interactive light show that connects the stadium to the city center via synchronized LED technology, making the entire urban sprawl a part of the stage. This is the edutainment factor. At its peak, understanding the urban planning and the economic synergy that makes a tour of this scale possible in a city as complex as Chicago. It's about the 50,000 fans who will travel from neighboring states like Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan, turning the city into a central hub of unity for the entire American heartland. Why does Chicago feel so different from LA or New York? It's because the city doesn't just watch the show, it participates in it. The fan projects in Chicago are legendary for their coordination and scale, often involving the entire stadium in synchronized light displays that can be seen from the air. As we reflect on why Chicago is the 6th pillar of 2026, we have to look at the emotional weight of the Chapter 2 era. This city was where they proved they could stand alone, and now, in 2026, it is where they prove they are stronger together than ever before. The narrative of the 2026 tour in Chicago is one of the return of the Kings to the heartland, a homecoming for a group that has always been embraced by the working-class spirit of this city. There is a rumor that the 2026 Chicago show will feature a special tribute to the city's musical history, perhaps a fusion of their hits with the deep house or jazz sounds that Chicago birthed into the world. How will the members react when they stand once more on the lakefront, looking out at a sea of purple that stretches as far as the eye can see? The pressure is immense, the stakes are sky high, and the wind is already beginning to pick up, carrying the whispers of a night that will go down in history. Chicago isn't just a stop, it's a statement that the heart of America beats in purple. Is it the history of the stadium, the legacy of Lollapalooza, or the sheer unyielding spirit of the fans that makes this city so essential? The truth is, it's all of them, woven into a tapestry of light and sound that only happens once in a lifetime. As the countdown continues, the Windy City prepares for a storm of a different kind, a storm of music, emotion, and the triumphant return of 7 souls who found a home in the heart of the Midwest. The 2026 Chicago experience will be a masterclass in how a city and an artist can grow together, evolving from a simple concert venue into a sanctuary of shared dreams. Get ready. Because when the beat drops at Soldier Field in 2026, the entire world will feel the vibration of the Chicago soul. Number 5. San Francisco. The Golden Gate to Innovation, where technology meets the soul. As we move our gaze from the industrial grid of the Midwest to the rolling fog and tech-infused hills of Northern California, we land in a city that represents the very frontier of the future. San Francisco. Why is this tech mecca the 5th most crucial stop on the 2026 tour? It's because San Francisco and the broader Bay Area isn't just a place, it's a mindset of disruption and innovation that mirrors exactly how BTS has handled the music industry for over a decade. Imagine the majestic Golden Gate Bridge shrouded in its signature Carl the Fog, painted in a deep, vibrant purple for the first time in history, symbolizing a bridge between the digital world and raw, human emotion. This stop is centered at Levi's Stadium, a venue known for being one of the most high-tech and smart stadiums in the world, making it the perfect playground for the 2026 tour's rumored integration of augmented reality and real-time global fan interaction. The logic behind choosing San Francisco is deeply analytical. The Bay Area holds one of the highest concentrations of tech-savvy fans who have pioneered the way digital fandom operates, turning hashtags into global movements. For the 2026 tour, this isn't just about a concert, it's about a homecoming to the region where the DNA of their digital success was arguably coded. Looking back, the group's history with the Bay Area has been a steep climb, much like the city's iconic hills, from smaller venues in the early days to now commanding the massive architecture of the South Bay. The reflective nature of this stop is profound. It's a city that values the big idea, and what idea is bigger than 7 Korean artists uniting the most diverse demographic in America? The San Francisco stop is strategically positioned to capture the essence of the golden era, a nod to the members' solo successes and their collective peak, creating a narrative of peak performance in the land of peak technology. Can you imagine the sheer brilliance of a synchronized light show where the stadium's smart grid technology allows for every single seat to become a pixel in a massive moving 3D portrait of the group? This is where the edutainment facts get mind-blowing. The economic ripple effect in San Francisco for 2026 is projected to rival a Super Bowl, with Boracay-themed pop-up shops taking over the Embarcadero and tech giants in Silicon Valley, reportedly adjusting their corporate schedules to accommodate the purple fever. But beneath the glass and silicon, there is a deep emotional resonance. San Francisco has always been a sanctuary for those who feel different, a city built on the gold rush of dreams, and for BTS, it represents the gold they found in the hearts of those who were told their dreams were too big. Have you ever wondered what happens when the most advanced human connection meets the world's most advanced technology? How does a group that sings about the map of the soul navigate a city that is constantly mapping the future of artificial intelligence? The 2026 San Francisco show is whispered to be the most experimental date on the calendar, possibly featuring a setlist that emphasizes their more genre-bending, futuristic tracks. The atmosphere here is one of high-stakes excitement. The air is thin, the energy is electric, and the sense of anticipation is enough to make the earth itself tremble, fitting for a city on a fault line. The 2026 stop here is a testament to the fact that while technology can connect us, only art can truly bind us. The narrative flow of the tour hits a fascinating peak here as it transitions from the traditional power of LA and Chicago into the visionary spirit of the West Coast's northern jewel. As we reflect on why San Francisco earned this spot, it's clear. You can't have a world tour about the future of music without stopping in the city that creates the future every single day. Is the 2026 San Francisco stop a bridge to what comes next? Or is it a celebration of how far they've already crossed? One thing is certain: when the purple lights reflect off the bay in 2026, the world will see a city that has finally found its rhythm in the heart of a global song. The countdown is intensifying, and the innovation of the 2026 tour is about to find its home in the fog-kissed streets of the Golden City. Number 4. Las Vegas. The neon oasis of destiny, where the desert turned into a purple sea. Stepping into the 4th spot on our legendary 2026 countdown, we find ourselves surrounded by the shimmering heat waves and the blinding neon lights of the Mojave Desert, in a city that redefined what it means to host a cultural phenomenon. Las Vegas. Why is the entertainment capital of the world so high on the list for the 2026 tour? Because for BTS, Las Vegas isn't just a venue, it's a living, breathing testament to their power to transform an entire city's identity. We have to look back at the historical precedent of April 2022, a moment that is now studied in tourism and marketing textbooks as the Boracay effect. During that historic 4-night residency at Allegiant Stadium, the city of Las Vegas didn't just host a concert, it surrendered its very soul to the purple movement. From the fountains of the Bellagio dancing to Butter and Dynamite to the Harry Reid International Airport flashing purple welcome signs, the city was completely terraformed. In 2026, the return to Las Vegas is a calculated move to reclaim that throne of immersive entertainment. Allegiant Stadium, often called the Death Star for its sleek black exterior, becomes a cathedral of light for the 2026 tour, offering a climate-controlled sanctuary where the desert heat is replaced by the electric fervor of 65,000 fans per night. But the choice of Vegas is deeper than just the infrastructure of a $1.9 billion stadium. It's about the residency model that BTS pioneered, proving that they don't need to move the stage to the people will move to the stage from every corner of the planet. Factually speaking, the 2022 Vegas shows brought an estimated economic impact of over $200 million to the local economy, and for 2026, that number is expected to double. As the BTS city concept expands into a full-scale festival including themed hotel suites, exclusive culinary experiences, and large-scale photography exhibitions chronicling the group's journey through their solo eras back to the reunion. Have you ever pondered the irony of a city built on the concept of luck and gambling being conquered by a group that achieved everything through blood, sweat, and tears? There is no luck here, only the undeniable gravity of 7 stars who have become the sun around which the entertainment world orbits. The 2026 Las Vegas stop is rumored to be the visual epicenter of the North American tour, utilizing the city's unique ability to merge the physical and the digital. Imagine the high roller observation wheel and the stratosphere tower acting as synchronized beacons, communicating with the light sticks inside the stadium via satellite technology, a feat of engineering that turns the entire Las Vegas Strip into a part of the performance. This is the ultimate edutainment moment, understanding how urban logistics, LED synchronization, and mass migration patterns converge into a single night of music. The atmosphere in Vegas is one of intoxicating freedom. The desert air carries the scent of expensive perfume and the electric hum of 1,000 slot machines. But when the first notes of the 2026 intro hit, all that noise fades into a singular, earth-shaking roar. This city is where the group feels most like superstars in the traditional sense. Yet the narrative of the 2026 show here is one of profound humility, a reflection on how they stayed grounded while the world tried to put them on a pedestal higher than the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Las Vegas. Why Vegas at number 4? Because it represents the scale of their ambition. It is the place where the map of the soul meets the map of the future. As we analyze the 2026 tour routing, Las Vegas stands as the glittering jewel of the desert, a place where the mirage became real. How does it feel for the members to look out at a city that literally changed its name for them? The emotional weight of seeing Bora Haggis return in 2026 is enough to bring the most stoic performer to tears. The reflective silence of the desert night after the show, when the purple lights finally dim, serves as a moment of gratitude for a bond that survived the sands of time. The 2026 Las Vegas experience will not just be a concert, it will be a takeover, a statement that in the city of high stakes, the safest bet in the world is the love between BTS and ARMY. Are you ready to see the desert bloom in purple once more? And what hidden surprises are tucked away in the entertainment capital that only those who are there in 2026 will truly understand? The neon is flickering, the stage is set, and the desert is waiting for the return of its kings. Number 3. Washington, D.C., the capital of diplomacy, where art rewrites the history of power. As we leave the neon-soaked illusions of Las Vegas behind, the 2026 tour takes a turn toward the majestic, the stately, and the profoundly historical, landing us in the very heart of American democracy, Washington, D.C. Why does the nation's capital secure the prestigious 3rd spot on our list? It is because Washington, D.C. represents the ultimate elevation of BTS, from musical artists to global icons of social change and diplomatic influence. To understand why 2026 is so significant here, we have to travel back to the 31st of May, 2022, a day that forever changed the perception of what a boy band could achieve. On that day, 7 young men stood behind the podium in the James S. Crockett Brady press briefing room at the White House, invited by the President of the United States to discuss the urgent need to address anti-Asian hate crimes and celebrate Asian inclusion. That moment wasn't just a PR stunt. It was a tectonic shift in cultural diplomacy. For the 2026 tour, returning to DC isn't just about playing a stadium. It's about a triumphant return to the city that recognized their voices as a force for good on a global political stage. Imagine the scene in the summer of 2026. The humid, heavy air of the Potomac River carrying the echoes of Spring Day, while the iconic marble monuments, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument, are bathed in a soft, respectful purple glow. The choice of venue for 2026, the massive FedEx Field, serves as the canvas for this diplomatic masterpiece. The narrative of the 2026 DC stop is one of the global citizen, focusing on the themes of unity and the shared human experience that transcends borders, and policy. This is where the edutainment facts get truly fascinating. Did you know that during the 2026 tour week, the city's various Smithsonian museums are rumored to host special pop-up exhibits curated around the history of Hallyu and its impact on American society? This isn't just a concert, it's a citywide educational forum. The economic data for the DC area suggests that the BTS effect here draws a unique demographic, not just local fans, but international diplomats, policymakers, and students from across the East Coast, creating a melting pot of cultures that mirrors the group's own message. The atmosphere in DC during the 2026 tour is one of stately celebration. There's a specific kind of weight to the air here. You feel the history of the world in every cobblestone of Georgetown and every hall of the Capitol. When BTS takes the stage in 2026, the reflection is deep. How did these 7 boys from South Korea, who once struggled to be heard, end up as the most influential voices in the capital of the Western world? The 2026 setlist for DC is whispered to be the anthem set, featuring songs that speak to social justice, inner peace, and the collective strength of the youth. Think about the irony and the beauty of it. In a city often divided by politics, the only thing everyone can agree on for one weekend is the power of a purple ocean. The technical logistics of performing in DC are a nightmare of security and regulation. Yet, the 2026 tour management has reportedly worked hand in hand with federal agencies to create a purple zone that allows for a seamless, safe, and celebratory environment. We're talking about a level of coordination usually reserved for a presidential inauguration. And speaking of history, 2026 is also the year of the United States sesquicentennial, the 250th anniversary of the country's founding. The fact that BTS, a group from Korea, is a central part of the cultural fabric during such a landmark year in the U.S. Capitol is a testament to the new world they have helped build. Can you imagine the emotional climax of the show when RM, the group's leader and a known lover of art and history, delivers a speech against the backdrop of the DC skyline, reflecting on the 250-year journey of a nation and the 13-year journey of a band that found a home within it? The on-the-spot documentary vibe here is palpable. You can almost see the camera panning from the quiet, dignified halls of the National Gallery of Art, where the members might spend their morning in reflection to the roaring, chaotic, and joyous explosion of sound at the stadium in the evening. This contrast is the soul of the DC stop. It's the formal meeting the free. It's the realization that while governments might draft the laws, artists draft the emotions that move the people. Why is DC number 3? Because it validates the group's legacy on a level that no chart position or award can ever match. It is the stop that proves the map of the soul is a map that even the most powerful leaders in the world are trying to read. The 2026 Washington, D.C. experience is a masterclass in cultural soft power. It's about the 70,000 people in the stadium who aren't just fans, but witnesses to a historical shift. As we look at the facts, the surge in hotel bookings, the Purple State initiatives, the academic seminars being held at Georgetown University about the BTS phenomenon, it becomes clear that this city was chosen because it is the ultimate stage for a message that needs to be heard by the whole world. How does it feel to be in the room when history is being written in real time, not with pens and paper, but with light and music? The 2026 DC stop is a bridge between the past and the future, a moment where the wind of change isn't just a song, but a reality felt by every person in the shadow of the Capitol dome. The narrative intensity here is at an all-time high. The stakes aren't just about a good performance, they're about maintaining the dignity of a movement that has become a global standard. As the purple lights reflect off the surface of the reflecting pool, one can't help but feel that the 2026 tour has achieved its true purpose, to unite the world in the most unlikely of places. Are you ready to see the capital of the world turn into the capital of the Purple Heart? What hidden messages will the group leave in the heart of the American government that will resonate for the next 250 years? The history books are open, the ink is wet, and the 2026 Washington, D.C. show is about to be the most important chapter yet. The atmosphere is thick with a sense of destiny, and as the countdown to the show begins, the city of marble prepares to melt under the warmth of 7 voices that have finally, truly changed the world. This is not just a concert, it is a diplomatic summit of the soul, and you have a front row seat to the revolution. Number 2. Toronto. The Northern Lights of Unity. A long-awaited Canadian coronation. As we cross the border into the sprawling, multicultural embrace of the 6IX, we land in the city that has waited longer, louder, and more passionately than perhaps any other on this list. Toronto. Why does this Canadian crown jewel take the penultimate spot at number 2? Because the 2026 tour isn't just a return to Toronto, it is a historic rectification of a long-distance love story that has spanned nearly a decade. For years, Canadian armies were the nomadic warriors of the fandom, crossing borders, navigating exchange rates, and traveling thousands of miles to American cities like Chicago or New York just to catch a glimpse of the Purple Sea. But in 2026, the mountain finally comes to Muhammad. The selection of the Rogers Centre, the iconic stadium with its legendary retractable roof, is a masterpiece of logistical and emotional planning. Imagine the scene. The massive white dome opening slowly under the crisp, clear Canadian sky, revealing the towering silhouette of the CN Tower, which, for the duration of the 2026 residency, is transformed into a 553-meter beacon of pulsating purple light, visible from across Lake Ontario. This isn't just a concert venue, it is a statement of sovereignty for the Canadian music scene. Historically, the group's relationship with Canada was defined by the 2018 Love Yourself tour at the First Ontario Centre in Hamilton, a smaller suburban city about an hour away from the Toronto core. While those shows were legendary, they felt like a teaser, a promise that one day they would conquer the actual heart of the nation. The 2026 stop is the fulfillment of that promise. Factually, Toronto is often cited as the most multicultural city on the planet, with over 50% of its population born outside of Canada. This makes the 2026 Toronto stop the ultimate demographic mirror for BTS's message of global citizenship. When RM looks out at the Rogers Centre crowd, he isn't just seeing Canadians, he's seeing a microcosm of the entire world united under one roof. The edutainment depth of this stop is found in the urban integration. The city's Union Station, a massive transit hub, is rumored to be reimagined as a purple terminal for the 2026 tour, featuring immersive digital galleries that showcase the members' artistic evolution. Economically, the impact on the Greater Toronto Area, GTA, is projected to be astronomical, with the BTS effect expected to inject over $150 million into the local hospitality and tourism sectors, proving that the group's presence is a catalyst for national economic pride. But let's talk about the atmosphere. The on-the-spot documentary energy is peak here. There's a specific, polite, but feral hunger in the Toronto air. It's the sound of 50,000 voices who have waded through a global pandemic, through mandatory military enlistments, and through years of TBA tour dates, finally hearing the first chords of the 2026 opening track reverberate against the Skydome's steel frame. Have you ever wondered how the architectural acoustics of a stadium designed for baseball can be tuned to handle the intricate, multi-layered production of a 2026 BTS set? The sound engineering team for this leg of the tour reportedly spent weeks mapping the rebound effect of the stadium's concrete bowl to ensure that Suga's whisper raps and Jin's soaring silver voice reach the very last row of the 500-level seats with studio-quality clarity. This level of technical obsession is why Toronto is the second-to-last stop. It's the final test of perfection before the grand finale. The reflective narrative of the Toronto show is one of inclusion and recognition. For the members, Canada has always been a place of healing and nature. Think back to their Bon Voyage or In the Soup vibes, where they yearned for the quiet and the vastness that Canada represents. The 2026 Toronto stop is whispered to feature a special acoustic segment that pays homage to this northern serenity. Perhaps a moment where the high-octane choreography stops and the 7 members sit at the edge of the extended stage, reflecting on the journey from Hamilton to the Rogers Centre. How does it feel for a group that has conquered the biggest stages in London, Paris, and Seoul to finally stand in the shadow of the CN Tower and realize they have completed the map of North America? The questions that haunt the 2026 Toronto stop are as chilly as a Canadian winter. What special guest from the rich Canadian music royalty, perhaps a Drake, a Weeknd, or Justin Bieber might make a surprise appearance to welcome the Kings of the East? Or will the group choose to keep the moment purely between them and the fans who waited so long? The intensity of the Toronto crowd is legendary in the industry. Artists often say that a Toronto audience is one of the smartest in the world, picking up on every hidden meaning and lyric change instantly. In 2026, the connection between the stage and the stands will be a telepathic bridge of purple light. As we analyze the 2026 routing, we see that Toronto isn't just a Canadian stop, it is the gateway to the final chapter of the North American leg. The city's landmarks, from Nathan Phillips Square to the Distillery District, will be draped in Borahai aesthetics, creating a city-wide festival that feels more like a national holiday than a concert tour. This is the edutainment factor, observing how a single musical entity can force a G7 nation to pause and celebrate. The narrative flow here is heavy with the theme of patience rewarded. As the 2026 tour dates in Toronto approach, the sense of destiny is unavoidable. It is a coronation of a fan base that never gave up and a group that never forgot them. The emotional stakes are higher here because it's a first and a homecoming all at once. Can you feel the vibration of the subway trains under the city, packed with fans from every province, from British Columbia to Quebec, all descending on this one point in time and space? The 2026 Toronto experience will be a masterclass in atmospheric storytelling, where the cold northern air meets the warmth of 7 hearts that have finally found their way to the 6 eyes. Is this the moment where the 2026 tour reaches its emotional peak, or is there something even bigger waiting just across the horizon? The lights are dimming over Lake Ontario, the roof is open to the stars, and the roar of the crowd is about to redefine the sound of the North. Toronto is ready. Are you? Number 1. Vancouver. The Emerald Gateway of the Pacific, where the journey completes its infinite circle. As we reach the breathtaking pinnacle of our 2026 journey, we find ourselves at the edge of the world, where the rugged, snow-capped peaks of the North Shore Mountains meet the deep, restless blue of the Pacific Ocean. Vancouver, British Columbia. Why does this Canadian jewel claim the absolute #1 spot for the 2026 North American tour? Because Vancouver is more than just a tour stop. It is the gateway to the East, the symbolic bridge that connects the group's grueling Western odyssey back to their roots in Asia, making it the most emotionally charged and strategically significant finale possible. Imagine the atmosphere in Hollywood North during that final week of the 2026 tour. The air is crisp with the scent of pine and salt, and the city's glass skyscrapers reflect a sunset that isn't just gold, but a deep, bruised purple. The choice of BC Place for the grand finale is a stroke of genius. Its iconic cable-supported retractable roof and the northern lights display a massive LED facade that wraps around the stadium, allow the entire city of Vancouver to witness the heartbeat of the show from miles away. For the 2026 tour, this venue becomes a literal lighthouse for the global fandom. Historically, Vancouver has been the missing piece in the BTS stadium puzzle, a city that has voiced its longing for years, and the 2026 selection serves as a grand, final thank you to the Pacific Northwest. This is where the edutainment facts become truly staggering. Vancouver boasts one of the highest concentrations of Asian residents in North America, making the 2026 show a cultural homecoming of unprecedented scale. The economic data indicates that the BTS final effect in Vancouver will likely surpass any previous musical event in Canadian history, with flights into YVR Airport surging from every corner of the Pacific Rim. But beyond the numbers, there is the on-the-spot documentary reality of the members themselves. Think of RM exploring the Granville Island art scene, or Jin finding peace fishing in the waters of English Bay, or Jungkook, the group's resident filmmaker, capturing the final vlogs of the North American leg against the backdrop of Stanley Park's ancient cedars. The 2026 Vancouver narrative is one of harmony with nature, reflecting the group's recent themes of sustainability and inner growth. The production at BC Place is rumored to be the most eco-conscious of the tour, utilizing Vancouver's renewable energy grid to power a light show that mimics the actual aurora borealis. Can you imagine the silence that will fall over the 55,000 people in the stadium when the members realize this is the last time they will stand on North American soil for this tour? The reflective intensity is almost unbearable. This is the city where the map of the soul finally finds its compass pointing home. The 2026 Vancouver setlist is whispered to be a complete retrospective, a marathon of hits that spans their entire 13-year career, designed to leave nothing on the table. How does a group that has conquered the world prepare for the flight back across the ocean? Is the 2026 Vancouver finale an end? Or is it a rebirth into a new era we haven't even imagined yet? The technical logistics of this final stop are a marvel. The Purple Seawall Initiative will see the world's longest uninterrupted waterfront path lit with synchronized sensors that react to the music playing inside the stadium, turning the entire geography of Vancouver into a living instrument. This is the ultimate edutainment moment, witnessing how urban design and digital art can create a collective emotional experience that transcends the physical walls of a stadium. The atmosphere here is one of bittersweet triumph. There is a heaviness in the air, a sense of last times, but also an electric joy that they made it, they survived, and they conquered. The narrative arc that began in the sun of LA moved through the wind of Chicago, the innovation of San Francisco, the neon of Vegas, the power of DC, and the multicultural heart of Toronto, finally finds its peace in the natural beauty of Vancouver. Why is Vancouver number one? Because it is the final bow. The last I love you before the group crosses the horizon. It is the city that proves that no matter how far you travel, the ocean always leads you home. As the final notes of the 2026 North American tour fade into the Vancouver night, and the purple lights of the CN Tower and the Empire State Building are 1,000 miles away, the only thing that remains is the echoing roar of a city that waited a lifetime for this one moment. Are you ready for the finality of it all? What hidden message will the group leave on that stage in the Pacific Northwest that will define the next decade of music? The mountains are watching, the ocean is waiting, and the 2026 Vancouver finale is about to become the most legendary night in the history of the world. This is the peak. This is the end. This is the beginning.